No, thank you. Sleepy. Come back in an hour.
Need sleepy.
Please go away. Let me sleep for the love of God!
It's now time for the Billy C. Morning Show, part of the Billy C. Boxing Network. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C. Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Caligione. It's time for the Billy C. Morning Show. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing okay today. I want to give a special shout out to all of our radio listeners and, of course, our YouTube viewers and our Fight TV viewers. Glad to be part of your morning, and we're glad to have you with us today. Today's show is being brought to us in part by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Italian Restaurant, located in St. Simons Island, Georgia. Check out the website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com. We'll give my man a call, 912-268-2328, 912-268-2328. Mention this show, get a free cannoli with your meal. And don't forget, if you're heading south for the winter, or maybe just to get out of the cold weather for a little while, maybe not for the whole winter, don't forget you can swing by Sal's and enjoy a delicioso meal 15 minutes out of your way off of I-95. So what are you waiting for? And besides, they got clean bathrooms, so, hold it till you get there. Then blow up the bathroom. No, I'm only kidding. Check it out. Mention the show, and make sure you see Sal. Sal's a great guy, and contrary to what we might say about him on this show, he's really a good guy. But check it out, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by Fight TV. Download the app so you can watch this show on your handheld device, whether it be your phone or whatever. Just go to fight.tv, that's FITE.tv, and put a /Billy C there and download the app for free forever. And speaking about for free forever, how about the new game that's out right now, the fantasy game, Fire Fan. If you want to play for free for your lifetime and win money without investing a penny, then you got to use the Billy C Boxing code. Go to www.firefan.com, enter Billy C Boxing as your code, and get it for free forever. Or make life easy for yourself and go to our website, BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the Fire Fan banner, which is on the left-hand side. And finally, today's show is being brought to us in part by my book. Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet, is available right now where all good books are sold. And you can get a copy right now by going to barnesandnoble.com or amazon.com. Find out why we got a 5-star rating across the board. What? You looking for a signed copy? You looking for a signed copy for someone that you want to give the book to for a Christmas gift? Because, by the way, the book fits perfectly in a stocking. Just go to our website, www.billycboxing.com, and go to the book club section and follow the directions, and you'll get a signed copy. Today we got some emails to read. Tomorrow it's Fan Driven Friday, so we'll open up the phone lines. We might even open them up a little bit later today. I don't know. But what's got my goat today, and we talked about it a little bit yesterday, is David Haye and the Britts. The British boxing scene, I have said time and time again, we're going to be entering our 14th year doing this show. And over that period of time, I have said more often than not that the British boxing scene, in particular, has carried the sport of boxing on its back. It really has. The Brits, in terms of, or I should say the UK fighters, are willing to fight each other. They make exciting fights. They don't wait for it to marinate like some of the bozos here in this country like to do. And they fight. The British fighters fight. And I love it. And I've said time and time again that the Brits carry the sport on their back. However, what I don't understand, and it really bothers me, bothers me. Why couldn't I get that word out? It really bothers me that they believe Haye's bullshit. David Haye is a bullshit artist, 100%. I mean, this guy is a fraud with a capital F, but yet they continue to support him and buy into his shit. I mean, right now, there people are buying tickets for the David Haye Tony Bellew fight, and I don't get it. Joining me right now from St. Simons Island, Georgia, in his massive multi-million-dollar studio is my man. It's the man, the myth, the legend, the New Jersey Boxing Hall of Famer, the Guinness Book World Record holder, the guy who can make a pretty damn good pizza and then some. My man, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, please welcome the one, the only, the infamous Sal Rocky Senecola. What's up, Sal?
Good morning, Bill. I'll tell you, I'm going to make you my press agent, my manager, my agent. We're going to go places.
I tell you, you keep saying, but let's do it. Hey, you know what you should do first? You should sit down with me so I can write your book. Remember? I remember that we planned it like 2 years ago. Yeah, you remember that?
Those pictures. I got the pictures already.
I
found the trough of plethora of photos and boxes and hidden things that were locked away in archives for years.
Man, you got a bad connection or something over there today, but I got some pictures too. I just can't believe they put you in that position in the photos I got. I don't know. But let's talk. Let's talk a little about David Haye. David Haye, obviously a former a multi-division world champion. He was a cruiserweight world champion and a heavyweight world champion, and they're billing the. They're billing the fight between he and Tony Bellew, which is taking place right around the corner, March 4th. This is what I was talking about you off the air. I mean, this is how you promote a so-called big fight. You announce the fight a month or two in advance, and you start to do the build-up. And, not that this is a huge fight in terms of the sport, but it is a big fight over there on the other side of the pond, and quite honestly, I just don't get it. When I take a look at David Haye's resume, granted, I mean, as a cruiserweight, he did beat some notable fighters in Arthur Williams and Carl Thompson, Giacobi Fragomeni, and of course Enzo Macronelli, and maybe the biggest win of his career was against Jean-Marc Mormac. But then when he had a fight, and he picked up 3 of the major belts. But then when he had to fight Krzysztof Lazarek, who at the time, and we're going back into the early 2000s, at the time was the top guy, he chose to leave the division in 2008, and he stepped up to heavyweight and fought Monty Barrett. Now, Monty Barrett, Sal, I don't know if you recall, but in 2008 was a gatekeeper type of a fighter. He had a record of 34 wins and 6 losses. Was not known to come in shape during this point of his career, and he fought David Haye in November of 2008 and got stopped. That fight, that one fight at heavyweight, immediately set up David Haye for a shot at Nikolai Valuev in 2009 and Valuev's WBA World Heavyweight title, which was a really close fight. And to be honest with you, to this day, I feel that Valuev won the fight. David Haye ended up winning a majority decision and rocked Nikolai Valuev for the first time in his career. It was actually the first time we ever saw the giant get rocked. But then after that, he fought John Ruiz, who was a shell of himself, beats Ruiz, fights Audley Harrison, which was clearly a fixed fight, and then, which it finally leads up to the fight that he chases Vladimir Klitschko around for 2 years, and he puts on a pitiful display. We talked about it yesterday, where he ran like the bitch that he is for 12 rounds and then complained that his little toe was broken. He comes back, and I'll give him credit for the Derek Chisora win in 2012. That was really one of his only legit wins, in my opinion, and as a heavyweight. And then he has a 4-year layoff. His last 2 fights against nondescript opponents in Mark DeMore and Arnold Gregjosh in his last fight in May, which sets up this fight for Bellew. And, of course, he's looking to get a shot at Anthony Joshua. I just don't get it. What's your thoughts about this love affair with the Britts and David Haye?
Well, I mean, as you were saying earlier, the British invasion. I mean, they really have taken boxing. They have their fan base. They really have had the exciting fights, and these guys also they don't really hesitate to walk into the ring when the fans or when the promoters call for top fighters to get in a ring together. They oblige. They get in there, and but the political machine behind boxing, behind a lot of things, is always evident and always there, whether it's underlying or it's more prominent in this case. You have your people that want to market and want to push and want to do things for whatever agenda they have, not the fans' agenda. And so I think he's been protected. He's been maneuvered. He's been shuffled, and there's a lot of forces and entities that are benefiting from this. I don't know. It's like I said, Bill. You and I have that 1, 2, 3 approach to boxing and how it could sustain and get back its fans and be the best sport in the world as it always, as it once was. And it's going to be a hard fight. No pun intended, but I don't know if it's ever going to sustain and get back to that level. Well, so I don't know. It's just another disheartening thing to observe and watch. And we know who the best heavyweights are out there, and they don't have to promote and talk about themselves.
But David Haye shouldn't even be in the discussion. No. And what makes me laugh, he's obviously trying to set himself up for a big payday with Anthony Joshua. And granted, domestically, I'm sure people will buy tickets. But here you go. Tony Bellew is basically a light heavyweight that moved up to cruiserweight and now is being forced up to heavyweight for a big payday. And he's been talking a lot of smack in the press over on the other side of the pond. My point is, I just don't understand how and why they buy into it. For example, I know they're starting to promote the fight now, which is scheduled for March 4th in London. This is what David Haye had to say. And I don't know if you caught any of the photos of the press conference, but it looks like two girls fighting. Whoever caught that shot that's being passed around of them each kind of hitting each other at the press conference, it looks like two girls fighting. I mean, it does. And the thing is what bothers me the most is Muhammad Ali back in the 60s and 70s started the taunting and I mean, don't get me wrong, he didn't start the taunting. There had been taunting going on for 100 years, but Muhammad Ali took it to another level with his pre-fight promotion, and ever since then, fighters after Ali have tried to emulate and copy it. My point is this. Do people really believe it? Do you need to do it in order to sell tickets? And I think the public knows when there's a good fight. I mean, they don't need a guy to stand up behind a microphone and say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. I mean, David Haye did all of that with the Klitschko. I mean, I don't know if you remember, Sal, but he chased him around in malls and everywhere Klitschko went. He would turn around, David Haye, say, I want you, give me a shot, blah, blah, blah. And even at the time, I thought it was very entertaining, But what bothered me was when he finally got the shot, David Haye proved to everyone that he's a bitch. I mean, he ran and hid and hid and hid and ran and complained after the fight about his little pinky toe. I mean, it was a joke, and I lost every little iota of respect that I had for David Haye, if that. The press conference I mean, do you remember? But here's what David Haye said at the press conference yesterday. He said, this is the fight that the public wants to see. And right off the bat, I said to myself, what public wants to see? Even my man in the chat room, my man Jack, he's been on this show, he's interacted with the show, he used to write a column for the website, all of this stuff. He's even say half of us hate him. It's like, well, do something about it, man. The Brits got to stand up, man. Stop throwing tea in the bay. Oh no, wait a minute. That was us. That was us.
Brits on this side.
That was on this side of the pond. Oh, sorry about that. There was a lot of iced tea that day. But anyway, the truth of the matter is,
little salt, not sugar.
Exactly. What public wants to see it? You know, they're promoting it. The fight is March 4th. Today's December 1st. Give me a break. You know, I mean, we're talking 3 months from now.
I guess they're going to see if it could sell, if it gels, you know, if it gets into the hearts and minds. I know, it's a little bizarre. It's before Christmas, before New Year's, and they want to try to put this in everyone's mind to look for March to buy a ticket and to come see a fight.
March. We're talking March 4th. They're already.
Yes, that's plenty of time. He's going to break more than his little pinky toe if he go running and trip.
And I'll tell you right now, don't be surprised if all of a sudden the phone rings and says, "Hey, David, you know, we got an opportunity for you to fight so-and-so, and we'll pay you twice as much." Next thing you know, can't fight Tony Bello. You know, and that's the joke. But anyway, David Haye says, this is the fight the public wants to see. They want me, the public, want me to shut Tony Bello up. I will end this fight whenever I want. It's completely up to me. I'll dominate Tony Bello on March 4th. He thinks he can knock me out. Look at all the heavyweights I've boxed that have hit me with 10-ounce gloves and not put me down. But the past is all irrelevant. I'm going to destroy him. Well, like I just said, the heavyweights that he fought, I mean, he fought, you know, Monty Barrett. And Monty Barrett, I mean, yes, Monty Barrett can punch, but he was in terrible shape in 2008 when he fought David Haye, so that's one. Nikolai Valuev, as big as he was, Nikolai Valuev didn't have that knockout killer punch. I always wondered, you know, if somebody taught that circus guy, if they taught him how to fight, maybe he would have been a knockout. John Ruiz was never really a knockout puncher, and he was a shell of himself. Audley Harrison, it was a fixed fight. Everybody saw the video footage when it was like, okay, it's time to go. It's time to go down, Audley. Okay, all right. You know, and Vladimir Klitschko, he ran and ran around the ring like friggin' Bugs Bunny did against Ravishing Rano. I mean, you know, it was terrible. You know, the only real fight I'm going to give him credit for is Derek Chisora. And what's Derek Chisora, Sal?
He is.
It's your favorite term for fighting. He's a journeyman. He's a journeyman.
I was just, I got to hit that button.
You got to hit he's a journeyman fighter.
He earned the title of journeyman.
That's right. And David Haye saying, I've been hit by the best of them. He's been hit by the best of them. And not that I see. But anyway, he goes on to say, I'm going to destroy him. Tony Bello says, the difference between me and him is I actually want to fight. The last time he was in a fight was 5 years ago. I've done what I've done in the ring. While he's been partying in nightclubs, I've been in the ring and in the gym. I want to fight. I enjoy fighting. He hates it. When we get in the ring on March 4th, you're going to see, you could say what you want about me, but I don't stop. I keep coming. I don't fear him. He thinks I'm scared of him. He talks nonsense. All these demands he puts in the contract, the size of the ring, the canvas has to be thick. I'm not going to run from him. I had one demand, to pick my gloves. That's it. It's not about anyone else but me and him. Write me off at your peril. I'll prove to everyone that they're wrong. If it comes down to heart and coverage, he's in big trouble. It sounds like they're really trying to con the Britts on this one, Sal. I mean, I just don't know why they keep giving David Haye. He's got more chances than Freddy Krueger. I mean, come on, man. Come on. It's a joke. I think it's a joke.
Well, it is. And you know what's even more of a joke is that's what we're spending this time talking about, because there's nothing else happening in the sport of boxing right now. Nothing that's relevant.
It's a joke.
Crazy.
It's a joke. We got
Joe.
Let me get. I got some emails to read, but let's get off the boxing here for a second. Let me get everybody caught up on some other sports. First and foremost, in the NBA, you've heard of baseball games getting postponed because of rain, and even football games in recent years has been postponed or delayed because of lightning. Years gone by, they didn't stop football for anything, but. I don't ever recall a basketball game getting postponed. But yesterday, the Kings and 76ers game was postponed, Sal. And you know what it was due to?
No, what?
Funny you should ask, right?
I want to know.
Condensation on the court.
Condensation on the court?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm sitting there saying to myself, Now a lot of these arenas are multi-function arenas. They have a concrete floor. When the basketball comes in, they lay out the wood floor. If the hockey team comes in, they put on the ice and all that stuff. Condensation on the floor. Just obviously the floor was too slick for the guys to play, but I don't know if I've ever heard that before. What do you think? That's kind of wild.
I've never heard that. Now I understand. You're saying condensation. I thought you meant one player was more condescending to the other.
No. That's different. That's different. That's in Sal Slip Mahoney's dictionary.
That's my slip fee.
But in the games,
Chief.
Hey, in the games that did, it would have been nice to hang out at that malt shop with those guys, huh?
And you know what? After I watched them, we had Milt's Malt Shop in Rivervale, New Jersey. Milt's and Tony's. So we had two different malt shops. And I always wanted to go and get a malt after I watched the Bowery Boys.
Yeah, Hey, speaking of Jersey, I've met this girl who her nickname is Jersey, and what a great person. I really would like to get her to know better. But anyway, in NBA scoreboard, the Pistons beat the Celtics 121-114. Ish Smith had 19 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. The Raptors topped the Grizzlies 120-105. Kyle Lowry had 29 points, 3 rebounds, and 8 assists. The Lakers beat the Bulls 96-90. Julius Randle, 13 points, 20 rebounds, and 2 assists. The Thunder from down under, actually from Oklahoma, they beat the Wizards 126-115. Check out Russell Westbrook with his triple-double, 35 points, 14 rebounds, 11 assists. Congratulations to Westbrook on that. What a great night he had last night. The Knickerbockers, they beat the Timberwolves by 2, 106-104. Kristaps Porzingis had 29 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists. The Spurs topped the Mavericks 94-87. Patty Mills, 23 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. The Heat beat the Nuggets 106-98. Hassan Whiteside, 25 points, 16 rebounds, and an assist. The Suns topped the Hawks 109-107. Brandon Knight, 23 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists for the Suns. Trailblazers beat up on the Pacers 131-109. Damian Lillard, 28 points, 5 rebounds, and 10 assists. Over in the NHL, the Islanders, my Islanders, finally win a game against a good team, as a matter of fact. The Islanders topped the Penguins 5-3. The Sharks beat the Kings 4-1. And Sal Rocky Senecola's teams, the Flames.
Oh, boy.
They lit it
How
up.
the Flames do.
They lit it up. The Flames kicked the fannies of the Maple Leafs 3-0, Sal. I bet they got
Flames burnt.
the Flames got up for the Maple Leafs, didn't they?
They cinched those leaves.
They got up for that one.
Hey,
But
ooh.
anyway, Sal, you got to pick a different team. I'm just telling you, people are going to get the wrong idea. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but hey, we better read an email real quick. How about one from Jesse? Jesse says, "Hey Billy C, I saw a video of Robert Garcia signing a 16-year-old highly touted prospect, Jesse Bam Bam Rodriguez. Mr. Honda, he was with Mr. Honda, a Japanese promoter. Honda told Robert there's no reason in keeping this young boxer in 4-round fights after 2 fights because this kid has tremendous skill. They want to move him fast to 6 and 8 rounders after a couple of fights. They'll take him to Japan and develop him there for his first few fights. Your thoughts on bringing up a young boxer to 6 and 8 pro rounds at a young age? They think they can contend at 20 years old in the flyweight division, so want to move him fast because he has so many skills at that age already. Robert Garcia is his manager and really raves about this kid, that he has power, speed, and basically everything."
How old is he?
He's 16. It's such a loaded question, Sal.
Okay.
I mean, look, when we look at Lomachenko, and you look at some of the Triple G, for example. Yuriorkis Gamboa is another one that comes to mind, or Sandy Lara. I mean, these guys that had extensive amateur experience on an international level,
Yes.
that have 200 and 300 fights under their belt. I can see moving them along a little quicker. But a 16-year-old kid, in my opinion, and I don't know, I don't follow the amateurs as much as I should. You know, Sal, that's what you should start to do. You should contribute to this show a little bit. You know what I mean?
I want to start to be a contributory force.
I think you should contribute, and I think you should get proficient on the amateur scene, and then you can enlighten our listeners and viewers about it more than me, because I just don't have the time, Captain. I just don't have the time, Scotty. But anyway,
I'll start working on that.
Get right on that with you. In between trying to find a pen on your messy desk in the back there. But but the bottom line,
Can you see it now?
Yeah, no, I can visualize. Trust me, I can visualize it. But the truth of the matter is this: a 16-year-old kid, and like I said, I'll admit I don't know much about him. Nor do I know about his amateur background. But at 16, I could make an assumption that he certainly hasn't had 200 amateur fights on an international level. And just because he shows promise in the gym and maybe he's beating up some guys that they're putting him in and seems to show all the signs and skill set, I think they're rushing him. I think that when I've said all along, Sal, the trick to being successful in a professional boxing career is to progressively increase your level of opposition so you get better. One of my knocks on the fighters today is that they don't give themselves enough experience as they're getting ready to move up. For example, we talk about this all the time. When you fight a southpaw, just fighting one southpaw doesn't make you knowledgeable about fighting southpaws. I use southpaw as an example because it seems to. But I mean, if you want to become proficient in fighting a southpaw, there's many different styles of southpaws. There's bangers, there's boxers, there's guys that move, there's guys that are tall, short. I mean, you got to fight all of them before you can say you know what you're doing. So I don't know. I'm kind of against it. I think they should move him along if they want to, get him in position to contend for a title quickly. Then up his level of opposition. But jumping from 4 to 6 and then 8-round fights after 2 fights, what do you think?
Well, again, you're talking about a 16-year-old, and one thing about a 16-year-old, they're fearless because they don't know any better. They're young and they think they can be a world beater, but the bottom line is this too: there is a different physiological makeup of a mature man's body versus a young kid's body, and he's still developing. He's still, the bones and the cartilage and the muscle tissue. He's still growing, and it's not saying that. Wilfredo Benitez at 17 years of age was a world champion, but yeah, I think there's enough opposition out there spread across in the diluted weight classes that he could probably find a lower level tier opponent in a 6 and 8 round fight. But what is that going to do for him as he progresses, as we said he should be doing in the sport of boxing? You raise the level of your competition, and there are surely a lot of fighters out there in a 4 and 6 round level that can give him a good challenge, that he can first spend some time in that division, rounds, those fights, and learn a little bit on his craft. But I think 8 rounds is going to be a little bit much for him right now. I think he can progress to 6 rounds, and they find enough. They could find enough competition out there to give him a little bit of a 4 or 5 fights to get him comfortable with his endurance. Let him go the distance. Let him get a couple guys in there that he can box with, he can punch with. So I think 6 rounds I could see him gravitating in. But he's still a young kid. He's 16 years old. He should be doing math work, too.
That's right. Hey, don't call me Shirley again, okay?
Shirley.
Stop calling me Shirley.
Okay.
But the thing is that the flyweight division does have a lot of talent. The problem is it doesn't get a lot of recognition. So from a business point, I could see them trying to move him quickly. But I stick to my guns. I think they need to move him along right. If they truly have a prodigy here, and if he's that good, build him up the right way, put him in some tough fights, let him fight at least a half a dozen 4-rounders, then move him to 6, fight another half a dozen there, move him to 8, and then once you get to 10-rounders, you're basically there, But
he'll get there by 17, and you know what? But here's the other thing. This kid's 16. he's still, like I said, his muscular skeletal system. He's going to be putting on some weight.
Well,
Possibly. He could be.
maybe that's what they're looking at. They're trying
That's
to get
what they're
him.
looking at.
They're
They
trying
want to keep him light. And
right. They want to.
to.
They want to move him up and keep winning titles in different weight classes. But the truth of the matter is just keep him busy. He could fight. I mean, I don't know why. You can keep a guy. Let him fight once a month, twice a month. And in 4-round fights and build him up that way. Get some fans behind him.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
There was another fighter that used to do that all the time. I think his nickname was, I'm teasing with this, Butterbean.
Yeah, I know. Butterbean was the king of the
King of
four rounders.
rounders.
Yeah, he was. I did an event with him and well, not with him, but I did it. He was there, and it was out in Caesars, Indiana, and he was a real hard guy to work with. He really was. But anyway,
Oh, really?
oh yeah, he was a diva. I think Andre Ward.
Was he
Believe it
full
or
of
not,
himself or just full of food?
he was full of it all, but yeah, he never walked past a buffet he didn't like. But anyway, Jesse goes on to say, I also think that Hopkins will school Joe Smith Jr. like he did to Pavlik. Let us not forget that Fonfara was outboxing Smith until he got caught. Hopkins will trick Smith and win via a late-round stoppage. Hopkins will continue his career and will probably want to face a guy like Triple G or Andre Ward. There's a lot of sense to that. Joe Smith Jr. does have a lot of power, but he's never faced anyone with the experience level of B-Hop. His big win is against Andres Fonfara. Fonfara kind of busted onto the scene himself, and really, I don't know. I think there's a lot of pressure on Joe Smith Jr., and should he beat B-Hop, there's sky's the limit for him. But I have a tendency to think Bernard Hopkins is going to make it a dull, boring fight and come out with a W. And I also agree that Hopkins will not retire after this fight, and I also think that he will go after a guy like Andre Ward or even Triple G at 168. So we'll have to wait and see. And finally, Jesse says, "Hey Billy, I like the Cespedes signing with the Mets because he has much to offer. Still, do you think teams will now not sign players for such a long contract like Cespedes, who only signed for 4 years? Usually, they sign players for 6 or 8 years." First of all, I'm a Mets fan, of course, and I love that they got Yoenis Cespedes back. I was hoping that they would. I think that it was a no-brainer, actually. Cespedes brought a lot of life to that team, and he was a needed addition. I mean, he showed everybody what he could do in the last couple of years for the Mets. Some of the things about that, well, first of all, $110 million over 4 years. The reason why they didn't want to sign him for any length of time is because of the amount of per year they wanted to give him. Plus, don't forget, Cespedes is 31 years old. You got Jose Batista from Toronto is much younger, and he's looking for a longer deal for that kind of money, but a longer deal. So it depends who you got. Baseball is the only professional sport in which the money is guaranteed, aside from boxing, I guess. But team sport, it's the only money guaranteed. Cespedes falls out of the office, trips over a cord when he's leaving after he signs the paper for $110 million the other day, and he still gets all his money. NFL is not like that. So neither is any other sport. So I think that teams are being a little more frugal, but it all depends on the individual. The one thing I don't like that's kind of tied with the Cespedes signing is that the Mets now are talking about possibly trading, what's his name? The guy. All of a sudden I'm gone. The Jay Bruce is in my mind. But the other guy we got from the Yankees. Who's the guy we got from the Yankees that did so well for the Mets?
Oh gosh.
Oh, geez, why can't I think? Not Bernie. Oh God, I'm drawing a blank. Somebody help me out here in the chat room. He's the guy he was our leadoff hitter. It was. Geez, it's tough getting old. But anyway, they're talking about getting rid of some players that I don't think they should. That's for sure. But God, why can't I think of that, Sal?
I don't know.
Age is a terrible thing. God. Anyway.
Mind is a terrible thing.
Anyway, nobody's helping me out here with that, but I hope they don't get rid of the guy. I can't remember his name. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. But anyway, this next one's from my man Coach. He says, "Hey Billy C and Sal, thank you, Joel. Joel just reminded me, Curtis Granderson. You know, I don't want to get rid of Granderson. Granderson was one of our most productive players. The Mets are talking about getting rid of him and Jay Bruce. Jay Bruce, I'd give him away and throw in a cheesecake or something. I mean, Jay Bruce was a terrible signing midway through last year. But, yeah, Curtis, man, we don't want to get rid of Curtis.
No.
Thank God for Joel. Keep him. He got my back.
Right on it, man.
Anyway, Coach says, "Hey, Billy C and Sal, I read that Hopkins changed his trainers. Now he's working with John David Jackson. He thinks that this is a sign that the executioner is concerned and is showing some doubt." He says, "What's your take?" I don't know. I don't know what to think of that. He's was his longtime trainer. He's had been working with him for a long time. John David Jackson showed me absolutely nothing in the Kovalev fight. I like John David Jackson. I know him personally. He's a really nice guy, and for the most part, he's a solid trainer. I don't know. What do you take? I mean, Hasim, he had his Hasim Richardson for years and years. B-Hop had as a trainer. Now he switches for this fight. I mean, what do you think he's thinking?
I don't know. I mean, at this stage, you're riding the same horse, and you want to all of a sudden change. There's something there that definitely you're not getting from your current trainer, and you want to see something else. I'm not sure. I'll tell you what. I know before any big fight, it was really, the only time I really changed horses with trainers is, when I really felt the confidence that this guy, was going to bring more out of me and show me a couple more things that I needed to learn. And, that was evident when I was with Richie Giacchetti and, of course, the great Don Turner. I mean, I saw and learned more from Don Turner than from a lot of trainers.
Well, according to Coach updating us here in the chat room, he says that report out in the Ring magazine says it was over the cut that Richardson wanted to get from the fight. And once again, it's that G word, not the G spot, Sal. I know that's what you're thinking. I'm talking about the G word. Greed. Sal, where's your mind today?
The greed. Well, there's either two driving forces, emotional forces. It's the greed or it's the need.
Where's your mind today? Stop thinking about G spots. I mean, come on, man.
I wasn't saying anything.
Come on, Sal. You're a dirty old man.
My girlfriend might be listening.
You hope.
She was earlier.
Yeah. Well, I'll leave that one alone. But anyway, my man Rick says, "What up, Billy C and Sal?" He says, I just took Hopkins' claim at face value that this was his last fight, but your show yesterday got me thinking he might still have another fight left up his sleeve. However, outside of a Ward fight, I don't know who that fight would really be against. Maybe Stevenson. Stevenson is good. Don't be shocked, boys and girls and children of all ages. And I think you're going to see Andre Ward pussy out of a rematch with Kovalev because that's the diva that Andre Ward has become. And I think you're going to see Andre Ward fight Stevenson because Stevenson is an overrated slug. And then Andre Ward gets to collect all of the belts that Kovalev wanted to collect, and Stevenson pussied out a fight in Kovalev, and Stevenson realizes that he's got a knockout puncher's chance against Ward. And I think Ward sees Stevenson as an easy W. So I think that you're going to see that fight, Stevenson against Ward. As far as Hopkins, I don't see why he wouldn't want to fight Ward if he beats Joe Smith Jr., but I also believe that Triple G could be a possible opponent for Bernard Hopkins at 168. So anyway, he says, let me say this. I came around on Hopkins some time ago and I'm a huge fan. And yes, I find him boring as hell round by round, but his legacy is as strong as anyone I can think of in my lifetime. I've been following Hopkins' career since I was a young, snot-nosed 16-year-old punk, and here we are 20 years later, and the man is still fighting. I just want to stop and say...
36.
Hey, yeah, wow. Wow, you didn't have to take off your feety pajamas to add that one up, did you? You know, I mean, but the thing I just wanted to say to Rick, and I know he's going to be shocked, you know, he's a Miami Dolphin fan, and me being a Jet fan, for years I hated the Dolphins, but, you know, since I've been doing all those events in Florida over the last, 8 to 10 years, I've become a Dolphin fan, Sal. I'm shocked to admit that I like the Dolphins. So
I like the Dolphins too. Whatever happened to Bob Greasy?
I think he's still quarterbacking for them, isn't he? Anyway,
we get the Dolphins. They come to the island all the time, and the owner Hazinga, he owns quite a bit. They visit the island all the time. They come in and get pizza and stuff. And,
when Flipper comes into your restaurant, where do you sit that bastard?
Well, it's so funny you should say that. Let me have a private conversation with you about Flipper.
Oh, is that what Kayla calls it? Oh, okay. All right.
Easy.
All right. Let me move on before you get me you get in trouble.
Wrong.
You got to stop it. You got to stop with this. Your mind is at the wrong place today.
I don't know whose mind. Are you doing this cross transgender?
Whoa! That's Michelle Obama. She's the tranny. She's the only tranny around. You know, I mean, I'm convinced that she's no woman. That's for sure. She's the ugliest thing I've ever seen. Anyway, let's get out of that right now. He says he was considered old when he beat Tito in the wake of September 11th and proudly took on the challenge of representing the United States during a time of great national tragedy. I'm sure you'll disagree, Billy, but I have Hopkins as a lock for the best middleweight of all time. He has the size, the reach, and awkwardness to give any middleweight in history trouble. He says his resume is on par with Carlos Monzon's, and he matched Hagler's signature accomplishment of 20 title defenses. Like Monzon, Hopkins' biggest wins at 160 came against welters who moved up in weight to challenge him. However, I think Hopkins has faced more true middleweights like Antoine Eccles, Murky Socia, Roy Jones, Kelly Pavlik, Jermaine Taylor, etc. With regards to Carlos Monzon, outside of Bernie Briscoe, I've never heard of anyone on his record aside from the smaller fighters I mentioned, like Jose Naples and Emil Griffith. And regarding Hagler, I got to stop you there. Carlos Monzon was a killer.
He was a monster.
Yeah,
I mean, middleweight, Carlos Monzon was a world beater.
And as far as a big middleweight, I mean, don't forget about Iran Barkley. I mean, he was a monster. Man. He was a monster. Listen,
everybody else ran but Barkley.
Yeah, I'm not taking anything away from B-Hop, Rick. I mean, but please don't compare him with Monzon. Although I guess if anyone could be compared, I guess. And listen, you know what? I wasn't a big fan of Bernard Hopkins ever until more recently. And I love the guy. I love what he's done, and I love the fact that he does go after. Not only Bernard Hopkins goes after big names. This guy, you could say a lot about Bernard Hopkins.
He's got no dog in him.
No dog. And the thing is he challenges himself. Something fighters of today don't do anymore. Yeah, no, he's definitely a throwback. Anyway, he says. As regarding Marvin Hagler, I give Hagler the edge in strength of competition, but head-to-head, I think he's too short and too much of a stalker to have any kind of success against the lanky and crafty Hopkins, who's a master at stealing rounds, just like Sugar Ray was able to do. We got to give B-Hop credit, but we also have to give B-Hop, or make note that B-Hop came after that last great era, when there were so many great fighters. So the level of competition, although I believe that B-Hop has fought everyone that was available above and below his natural weight, when you start looking at previous eras, I don't know if he fought the tougher opposition, although since there's no time machine invented yet, we'll never know. So we got to give credit where credit's due. And just like Hagler, just like Carlos Monzon, Bernard Hopkins certainly has fought everyone and beyond who's available to him during his time. So, yes, I agree with that. He says, at 175, Hopkins' legacy isn't too shabby either. I don't even know how many two-time light heavyweight champions there have been throughout history, it can't be more than 2 or 3. I know Bob Foster and Billy Conn are the gold standard at 175, and a shout-out to Archie Moore. But outside of them, who would you really rate above Hopkins? And how many of those guys were two-time champions? Roy Jones beat Hopkins at 160, but never at 175. Not to mention Hopkins dominated guys like Winky Wright, Antonio Tarver at that weight, and fought competitively against Joe Calzaghe and Sergey Kovalev well past the age of 40. Calzaghe was one of the most overrated fighters in history, so please don't put him in the same breath as B-Hop, despite his win over B-Hop. He says, don't forget, he's the only guy to ever stop the unstoppable Glenn Johnson. The only name missing from Hopkins' career is James Toney, and I think that would have been a fight of the ages, but I can't think of any other fighter in my lifetime with such a strong legacy, spanning 3 decades, with so few convincing losses on his record. I don't know how any true boxing fan couldn't be a fan of Bernard Hopkins. I agree with my man Rick on that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right on. And I think Rick makes some good points. Absolutely.
B-Hop has definitely impressed me in the last decade. And it's a decade. Think about this. In the last 10 years, Bernard Hopkins has fought and beat most quality fighters than anyone else, and he was over the age of 40. So
yes.
I mean, let's be real here. Bernard Hopkins clearly is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He certainly doesn't need the money, and this guy challenges himself. I mean, he's a throwback in the sense, Sal, that fighters today don't want to challenge themselves. We were talking off the air how a guy like Floyd Mayweather, and no discredit. I mean, listen, I'm not a fan of Floyd. I don't like Floyd Mayweather, the human being. I think he's a scum. But Floyd Mayweather, you got to give him credit. He always is in shape. Even today, he's so-called retired, but he's in fighting shape. The guy is in good shape. He lives clean. You give him credit for that. He earned his divaism, if that's a word. He earned to be able to.
One that usually does.
I know. He earned to call the shots and stuff. Floyd earned it, but a lot of other fighters today are trying to copy Floyd's success by pulling the same shit. And I don't think they've earned it like Floyd has. And as much as I keep using the word earn, I do believe that Floyd has cherry-picked his opposition. But the bottom line with Floyd is he sells pay-per-views. There's no question whether people are buying it to watch him lose or buying it to watch him win. They buy it. Andre Ward, the numbers that are being thrown around, about 160,000 buys for the Kovalev-Ward fight, one of the biggest fights in boxing, 160,000 buys. Now, we all knew Kovalev wasn't a big draw. He's an unknown commodity. And Andre Ward tries to negotiate like he's the name, and this guy can't draw flies to a garbage convention. And all the fighters want to emulate Floyd's success. For that matter, I think the PBC has ruined boxing a bit because of the outrageous purses they're giving. When Danny Garcia's father, Angel Garcia, is bragging about getting $3 million to fight a bum, that's pretty bad, don't you think?
Yeah, I definitely do. Unbelievable.
It's sad, really.
It's sad. It's sad.
I tell you, this weekend is kind of sad. We do have the challenge back up. A lot of fights on. We're in the final stage of 2016 for the Billy C Challenge. I haven't had a chance to update the website, but I will try to do that over the weekend and crown November's winner. But December's going to be a tough one. So everybody that's involved with the Billy C Challenge, I'm warning you now. It's going to be a tough one, and this week is beginning to show that. There's a couple of interesting fights this weekend. The best fight on the schedule, as far as I'm concerned, is Denis Ledebev against Murat Gaziev, and Gaziev is a young version of Denis Ledebev, and we'll see what happens with that. That fight's taking place this weekend in Russia. But did you even see? Dax and I were talking about this yesterday. Man, has it flown under the radar. But Kubrat Pulev, who's a top 10 heavyweight and a guy that many people thought was going to be a champion by now, and quite honestly, was the most exciting fight I ever saw Vladimir Klitschko in when he fought aggressively against Pulov and knocked him out cold. But Pulov is fighting this weekend against, get ready for this, Sal, Samuel Peter. Samuel Peter was a former world champion years ago, and he's another one of these. I believe he's a Haitian. I think he's a Haitian fighter. I don't know if he's quit recently, but look for him.
Did he get off the stool?
Yeah, I think he did. When the bell rang.
But the stool.
But don't cut him short, because he's got a chance to quit this weekend against Pulov.
What? I bet he doesn't answer the bell for the 8th round.
I bet you. I bet you. First of all, he shouldn't even be fighting. But he's maybe he's not Haitian. I don't know. But the bottom line is he's fighting Kubrat Pulov this weekend. Denis Ledebev is fighting this weekend. But did you hear that one of those middle? Oh, I'm sorry. Captain Jack got me straight. That's right. He's Nigerian. A Nigerian.
Okay. That's a big difference.
It's a big. And not only that, I should have figured. I should have figured that out, since his nickname is the Nigerian Nightmare.
Billy, don't tell me that.
I know. I'm told you, I'm losing my mind. I got to take more vitamin B12.
Mahoney is resurrected.
I got to take more vitamin B12. I couldn't even remember Curtis Granderson's name, and I'm a huge Met fan. But anyway.
I wasn't going to talk about the vitamin supplement that's supposed to help your brain cells, so I won't plug them.
What? Oh, because I'm not saying go buy a specific brand. I'm not like you. I don't advertise things for free on this show. They're going to shut my electric off because you give away all the advertising for free here. But you probably forgot that Billy Joe Saunders is fighting this week. He's a middleweight champion. You know that,
yes,
right?
Yes, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, he's the guy that ducked and ran like a scared little bitch from Triple G. But he's fighting the household name in middleweights, Otur Akavov, this weekend. So everybody's going to be on the edge of their seat for that fight, I'm sure.
Yeah. I just saw it.
I tell you which is a pretty good fight that's taken place this weekend that also has been flying under the radar, unless it's been canceled, and nobody sent me an email on that one. But Richard Comney against Denis Shakarov is fighting in the lightweight division. I like the fight. And the return of Ashley Theophane is also scheduled to fight this weekend. And he's in kind of tough. Yakubu Amadou is a tough fighter. Amadou... you can't go by his losses. He's been robbed a few times. And Ashley Theophane, I've always liked him, but he fights sometimes good and sometimes not so good. I mean, there's no in between, it seems, with Theophane.
No, that's extremes. That the level. We'll see who shows up next.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. But I tell you, today I can't get past the David Haye thing. I just don't understand why the Brits care so much about this guy. I mean, and from where didn't he move to the States? I mean, isn't he kind of living in California now? I don't know, man. But are you looking forward to that fight in March? I mean, you got plenty of time to think about it.
You know what? No, I got plenty of time to get myself excited about it, but we'll see if they do the grassroots promotion and create the excitement. Remember, the media, they don't just report the news; they stimulate and create it.
Yes, they do, and they shouldn't. They shouldn't. Hey, speaking of the media. Did you see? I just want to ask you this.
Let's talk politics.
I just want to say one thing. We're losing
fans. Let's talk politics.
Romney, right? Romney.
Romney. That is a good old name. Did he run for presidency?
Mitt Romney, and the woman from South Carolina, right? The governor of South Carolina.
That's like a movie.
They were South Carolina. When Trump was campaigning, those two were so outspoken about, they're not voting for Trump, and for all we know, they didn't. But now the South Carolina woman, she's already been appointed to Trump's cabinet, and there's speculation that Mitt Romney, whether maybe it happened while I slept, I don't know, but that he's going to be a member too, and. They had a meal yesterday where there was a lot of, media there taking photos and stuff. And one of the captions said, Here's a picture of Mitt Romney with his plate of crow that he's eating.
Now that's funny.
The truth of the matter is how do you stand up and say all the negative stuff that these people said about him, and then the next breath act like everything's cool and accept a position in the cabinet? I mean, how are the American people? But how? I just want to know. Yeah, but I want to know.
That's how families work.
I just want to know how the American people are supposed to believe these politicians when they say stuff, when they do a complete about face.
Are you kidding me? Are you questioning the credibility of politicians?
A little bit.
Come on,
yeah. A little.
Bill, that's outlandish.
Just a teeny little bit. Yeah, I am.
Well, like I said, I think it's a matter of just doing what's right for business.
What do you got? Cotton in your mouth? Hey, Marlon, what do you got? What do you got? Cotton in your mouth? Jeez. Anyway, hey, listen. We got a lot of stuff that we want to talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow. But here's the thing, we're not gonna because we're gonna let the viewers and listeners talk about what they want to talk about tomorrow, because we're gonna open up the phone lines. It's Fan Driven Friday. I will talk a little about the hottest news in the sport tomorrow. And Dax Khan is scheduled to join us for a little bit tomorrow as well. And then we'll open up the phone lines and let you guys drive the show tomorrow. So all your questions, comments, or concerns, or even if you have more thoughts continuing on a couple of the big fights over the last 2 weeks, like the Andre Ward victory over Sergey Kovalev, and the Haitian quitter, Nicholas Walters, deciding that he had enough. And some of the social media comments about, he was getting beat, why should he continue?
If that's where the fight fan base is heading, forget about it. And that's the media. What? The term fight is because it's not easy. If you don't want to fight, then get the hell out of the sport.
The problem with Nicholas Walters quitting, in my opinion, is that he's a knockout puncher. And unless he was cut up and busted up real bad and everything, which he wasn't, he's got a chance to win. And that's what it's just, the heart isn't in the sport anymore. We got a bunch of,
you just said it.
Well, I mean, listen, and I'm not, obviously, the guys that we question heart and ability to could kick the shit out of me. I'm not saying that. But the truth of the matter is that, what made this sport so great for, years ago was the heart and what these guys do in the ring, where you sit back and you watch and you say, oh my God, what a warrior. I would never let somebody do that to me. I would pick another field. That's what the attraction is. Is it safe? Is it good for the guy? No, but they chose to be in it. And today it's changed. Now nobody wants to get hit. We're in a sport that's, boxing. You're supposed to render your opponent unconscious, and you got guys that don't want to get hit. You got guys that don't want to fight. You got guys that say they're the best but don't want to fight any tough guys. I honestly, Sal, and we are looking for emails from you guys. Any kind of thoughts you have on some changes that you feel we could make with this show to make it better for 2017 as we enter our 14th year. I'm open, so drop me an email, Billy@talkinboxing, TalkinBoxing.com. I will be announcing a new format to kick off 2017 when as soon as the new year happens. You guys are going to see some changes here, but I'm curious to know if there's anything that you would like to change. But to tell you the truth, Sal, I see this sport changing for the worse. I see the fan base really changing for the worse. I don't like what a lot of young fans accept in this sport today, and I don't see it ever rebounding. I think that the fact is it's changed. It's not going to go back, and I do think that this sport is in trouble being taken over by MMA. As a matter of fact, I might start following MMA myself.
I don't know, Bill. I don't know. Like I said, we've seen boxing go through the ebb and flow of excitement and times where it's been different generations have said that their generation was the best and this was that and that was this. But the truth of the matter is it may have a drought for a period of time, and maybe one day we're going to have the boxers and the fighters out there that want to take no prisoners and have no other goal other than to be the best and to fight the best in their mind. And maybe these fighters will evolve and they'll be recognized. And there's a few of them out there today, and we know them, and we talk well about them. But I don't know. I'm just hoping that boxing could sustain the level of interest with the fan base that it always has had, loyal fan base.
Yeah, well, I think there's so many things going on today that are affecting the sport. One of them is the racial division that seems to have, really kicked it up over the last 8 years for some strange reason. I can't put my finger on it, but it's real. It's real. It's bad, and it's getting worse. And I honestly believe that this country is headed for another civil war, and it's going to happen in our lifetime. And somebody better do something about it quick, because we don't need that, and it's horrific that the division is happening the way it is, and it's uncalled
Well, this
for.
country is so divided. And you said that when you have to read about or hear about in the news media talking about college students needing grief therapy and dogs and pets and counseling because of an election. I mean, what kind of softies are we going to have leading this country 20 years from now? Forget about it. I'm tired.
You want to hear how crazy it is? Yesterday, I was.
I mean, this is sick.
Well, yesterday I was in.
You want to know why fighters don't want to get hit?
This might be up your alley. I was in a bar yesterday, and they serve food. It's a bar restaurant type place.
Yeah.
And I was in there with some of my buddies. I was making some drinks. I was behind a bar.
I like that. I got to come up for a drink one day.
Yeah, you should. And in walks this couple, who are a bunch of idiots, I might add, and they got a dog with them, a little dog. Right?
I've been seeing a lot of dogs in stores and restaurants.
And I lean over.
I
and
mean,
I go,
it's a change of the times.
well, let me tell you something. I don't want to dine with a dog. I'm a dog person. I got a dog. I love my dog. As a matter of fact, my dog is in the studio right now with me. I love my dog. But when I travel, I don't want to stay in a room that a dog has been in. If it's a pet-friendly hotel I happen to be staying at, I demand that I get a room that a dog has never stayed in. That's number one. Number two, when I go to a restaurant, I don't want to dine with dogs. I don't want to see a dog, right? So this dog walks in. He's got a little Santa Claus hat on, right?
That makes him cute.
Friggin' dog. Yeah, it made it as cute. It made it as cute as the fucking mouse I want to kill in the house, right? But I lean over and I go, hey, it's a fucking restaurant, man. What are we letting dogs in here for? Well, the person says to me, that's a therapy dog. That's exactly what they said. A therapy dog? Yeah, service dogs are allowed as long as they're a service. Well, both of them have their legs, and neither one of them are blind. Well, it's and they go like this. They go like this. They say, well, it's a therapy dog. I said, a therapy dog. And next thing you know, the dog is whining and getting out of hand. I go, hey, that ain't no therapy. Yeah, that dog ain't no therapy dog. Therapy dogs are trained and stuff. They don't whine and cry. They sit there and do their job. They're working. They're on the clock. This dog was in there getting a free meal wearing a Santa Claus hat, all right? And I'm offended. I don't want to go into a nice place and spend $50 on a steak and have a dog sitting there drooling, looking at me. I'll bring my friggin' dog in. My dog, I'll bring my Rottweiler, my 150-pound Rottweiler, and say, hey, he's my therapy dog. Hey, you don't mind if he drools all over the floor. You don't mind if he takes a taste of your steak, do you? You want him to stop staring at you? Throw him a French fry. I mean, come on. I think that's bullshit. What do you think, Sal? You own a restaurant. If somebody walks in with a dog, what do you say? Woof. What do you say? Hey, woof, woof.
Billy, I get that every day. We pretty much have it resigned to the outside porch. But we have every day. We have dogs tied to our post, and we bring them a tinfoil pan of water, and we have a lot of passerbyers stopping by, talking to people. It's just a sign of the times. That's all. It's just like I said. We do things a little bit different today. There's a little more acceptance and marginalization of our society.
But wait a minute. I can understand that you want to
talk to you off air.
No. I don't want. Listen. I get it. You're in the hospitality business. I know. You're in the restaurant. You want to accommodate that customer. That 90-year-old lady that's bringing her little poodle in with her. That's her best friend. I get it. You don't want to turn her away because she needs the dog, right? But what about the other customers that are offended because there's a friggin' dog sitting in the restaurant while they're trying to eat? I got a problem with that, Sal. I mean, and I'm a dog guy. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I don't like pets. I told you. I got my dog. He's like my son. I love him, but I don't bring him to restaurants. I mean, granted, they're prejudiced against my dog because he's not a poodle. He's a big dog, but the truth of the matter is I wouldn't do it. Same thing, I wouldn't bring him to your house. If you said, hey, come stay at my house, I wouldn't bring my dog with me. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a level of respect that people have to give. I don't care how much they love the dog. I don't care how much of a family member it is. They shouldn't be in a restaurant. They shouldn't even be in a hotel, to be honest with you. Man, you're keeping distance from this. What do you think? So you think Mrs. Smith with the poodle that comes in on Wednesdays is gonna get pissed at you or what?
I don't know. I've been encouraging a lot of my our customers to listen to the show, and they might be on the porch right now today with their dogs. And,
well, I want to personally say to the customers,
I got to give them that tin foil to go foil pan, a round 10-inch aluminum pan. We fill that up with water. Maybe I should start getting dog bowls.
Sal, when you start making tinfoil swans and giving it to the dogs, that's it. We're done. You're dead to me. All right? If you start making dishes shaped like swans and give it to those friggin' dogs out on the porch, you're dead to me.
Hey, listen, I have one guy that comes in. And he not only orders a pizza for his family, but he orders like 1 or 2 slices for his dog. And as soon as he gets outside the restaurant, he throws it to the dog. This dog is a big German Shepherd. He just woofs that damn thing down.
Let me tell you, you better tell this guy. I know you want to sell pizza, okay? But my dogs, and I'm a Rottweiler guy. I've had Rottweilers for the last 30 years, and the truth of the matter is my dogs, when they see a pizza box, they go crazy. They know what the fuck. No. They know what a pizza. Even if the pizza box is empty, and they see it, they're like, whoa, Dad, you got pizza? Hey, throw us a slice. I'm like, you're a German dog. You're not a friggin' Italian dog. Hey, we like pizza. What can we do? But the truth of the matter is, I had a dog, Jewel, God rest her soul. She ate so much pizza, I didn't realize it, that if you feed the dogs too much bread and stuff, they become diabetics. Jewel, for the last 5 years of her life, she was
not good for them.
She was a diabetic, and I'll tell you what's really not good for them. And I never knew this. But turkey. Don't feed your dog turkey. Everybody knows not to feed them chocolate.
Come on, don't tell me that. Turkey. I used to feed my dog turkey scraps all the time.
All the time. My dogs, they love Thanksgiving because of the turkey.
There were a few pets we had down in Kayla's house that we fed them little turkey scraps too. That's
what I'm saying. This past Thanksgiving, my name it. He's my dog, and he's looking at me. He's going, oh, Dad.
Oh, Namath. His dog's name is Namath. Is it Joe?
Yeah,
Willie?
Well, it's Namath. But
the Jets.
They
throw a better ball than what we have there now.
You're damn right. But listen, Namath says to me, at Thanksgiving, he's like, hey, Dad, because that's what he calls me. He calls me Dad. He says, hey, Dad. What, no turkey for me? No turkey for me, Dad? I go, hey, name it. It's not good for you. He says, oh, well, let me be the judge of that, Dad. And I said, no, name it. I read. It's not good for you, man. And he's like, well, how about a piece of chocolate? I said, you can't have chocolate either. He says, what, you're not going to throw me anything? I said, all right, I'll throw you a piece of pizza, but you're going to be a diabetic. He says, how about some dessert? I said, all right, I'll give you some dessert. So I gave him a piece of cheesecake, but he didn't have any turkey. You got to be careful with that, Sal.
I've never known that, Bill. I will think about that at Christmas with turkey with the dog.
Well, listen, for all your customers that have dogs that are watching the show, don't bring him to Sal's anymore, okay? You heard Sal. He's trying to be a nice guy. He doesn't want your dog. He doesn't want your
They're all
dog.
welcome. We sit them outside. They get tied to the post.
Yeah,
like in the old days when you would take a horse
Wait a
to
minute.
park.
Wait a minute. I think that is a
horse
Sal, that's a travesty. You tie your customers to the post? That's not right, Sal. You know,
we got to keep them somehow.
What? Just tell them to leave the dog home. Why are you tying the customers to the post? I mean, oh wait, you're not tying you're tying the dog or the customer?
The dogs.
Oh, the dog.
They're well behaved.
Oh, the well-behaved dogs. Yeah, that's right. The last time I was there, I think I got nipped in the leg by one of your customers. Yeah, what's going on with that, Sal? You better knock that stuff off, man.
I should, huh?
Oh, the cat got your tongue? The dog, what, the dog got your
I
tongue?
gotta wash my tongue, otherwise the dog will bite.
Next thing you know, what, you're prejudiced against cats? You know,
I love cats.
Oh, so if somebody brings their cat to the restaurant, what if somebody has a pet guinea pig? Not that it's an Italian guinea pig.
We've had a lot of different pets at my restaurant.
What if they have a pet snake? And they want to bring it to if you let a dog, you got to let a snake.
If it's a therapy snake, we have to let it in.
A therapy snake.
It's got to be a therapy snake.
You know what I like about snakes?
It's got to be in a cage. It's got to be a therapy snake.
You know what I like about snakes?
Dead.
Yeah, nothing. There's nothing I like about snakes. But there is one thing. There is one thing. They're quiet. You know? I mean, you can't
except when you hear either the
yeah. Well, when you hear that, you know, the other thing is, you know what's good about some snakes, like a boa constrictor, when the lady that's a pain in the ass comes in and they're wearing a boa constrictor like as a turtleneck sweater. Now that is a good sign, because the chances are the lady's not going to be around much longer. But anyway, enough of the pet talk. What's this? The pet channel? I mean, come on. But listen, as we wrap it up today, make sure you're tuning in tomorrow. We got Fan Driven Friday. And if you want to talk about dogs and cats and anything else to scare,
lions and tigers and bears.
Oh my! But if you want to talk about that, you can. Don't forget to drop me an email about some of your suggestions, what you would like to see with our format change for 2017. Billy at Talkin' Boxing. That's TalkinBoxing.com. So make sure you tune in tomorrow morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, I'll leave you with this. Ciao, baby.